Resolution honoring the life dedicated to public service of former Representative Dr. Jose Dodong R. Gullas and expressing the profound sympathy and sincere condolence of the Senate of the Philippines on his death on February 25, 2021.
Yes, Mr. President, may we recognize our distinguished colleague from Zambales and the Republic of the Philippines, no other than Senator Richard Gordon, to sponsor the measure, Mr. President.
The gentleman from Zambales, Senator Richard Gordon, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, I have sad tidings, and I have to stand up. And I have a confession to make. I have not really known the gentleman that I'm going to extol, but I've heard of him so much that it caused me to rise up today and speak up for his memory, to offer my personal sympathy and the profound sympathy and sincere condolences to the Senate for a very well-deserved and distinguished work in his life, Mr. President. Dr. Dodong Gullas died last February 25, 2021. He was a public servant from Cebu, a champion of Cebuano arts and music and education, a renowned journalist and a devout supporter of the Catholic Church. These are Cebuano traits. Talagang among Cebuano, talagang they're articulate, they read a lot, they like the arts, at nakikita nyo, they are absolute fighters and also devout Christians, Mr. President. Dodong Gullas was the chairman of the Freeman, and that's why I wanted to talk about him today. The Freeman, by its very name, sounds and it speaks for itself, Mr. President. Freeman. Malayang tao. Malayang tao. This is ito pinakamatandang Cebu daily newspaper, Mr. President. It was founded by his uncle in 1919 and it's revived by him in 1965. So Dodong Gullas is a man who believes in continuing something good. Consistency is, I guess, one of his traits. True to its motto of being fair and fearless, he served as a paper's chairman until his death, allowing the newspaper to grow and receive numerous accolades. Whereas Mr. Dodong Gullas was a titan of education, having served as the executive vice president of the University of the Visayas. Can you imagine, when I was a young man, Mr. President, believe ko, meron palang University of Visayas. You know, I was from Olongapo, and when I heard UV, I could only remember their players, sila Bas, yung mga magagaling na basketball players. Pero nung pumunta ako sa Cebu, nakita ko napakagara at malaki yung University of Visayas na ginawa ng mga Gullas. Not to mention sila Ed Gul, ang ating kaibigan. Yun ang kaibigan ko talaga, si Congressman Eddie Gullas. They pioneered night classes for working students. Napaka-innovative ng mga Cebuano, as usual, at the university, and enabling countless people to get an education through his study now, pay later plan. Wow, Mr. President. I mean, nawi ka na eskwela, study now, pay later. Napakagandang strategy. Si Representative Dodong Gullas served as Cebu's first district representative in the 12th Congress from 2001 to 2004 and was instrumental in decentralizing the payroll system in public elementary schools to address the problem of the delayed release of salaries of teachers. Now dito sa atin, ang dami natin nagsasalita tayo lahat ukol sa mga guro na hindi nasasweldo ng sa oras, walang chok at lahat. Pero si Dodong Gullas was already talking about the teachers long ago. And he walked his talk, Mr. President. He walked his talk because although his proposition lost in Congress, he continued on in-adapt ng mga Department of Education. At ngayon, nauna na ang sweldo ng teacher dumarating in advance at hindi na nadidelay yung sweldo ng teacher. Alam naman ninyo, mga teacher, nag-aabono pa yan sa chok, nag-aabono pa yan. Kung minsan nagtitinda pa sila na talagang beneath their dignity. Pero itong si Dodong Gullas made it a point na mauna na kahit na walang batas, pinauna nila sa Department of Education, Mr. President. Dr. Dodong Gullas succumbed to pancreatic cancer, Mr. President, on February 25 at the age of 87. He is survived by his wife, Nena Gullas, and children Joselito, Jacqueline Mary, Joy Marie, and John Vincente. And of course, his brother Ed Gul. Makikita naman ninyo na talaga may charisma talaga si Dodong Gul. I actually met him not so long, not for a long time, but I really became an instant admirer when I was looking at his record. Now, therefore, be it resolved for the Senate of the Republic of the Philippines to honor and extol the life of Dr. Jose Dodong Gullas, dedicated for public service, and expresses, he hereby expresses our profound sympathy and sincere condolences to his family on his passing. I would also request that a copy of the resolution that I filed be furnished to his bereaved family, and if our colleagues seek to want to be a co-sponsor or co-author, I would be most willing to accept all of them. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President,
you.
before we recognize our other colleagues, I'd like to ask the good sponsor if we can all be made co-authors of this measure, all the members of the Senate, Mr. President.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I wish to have done that as a co-author, being coming from Cebu.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes.
May I also, with the permission of the sponsor, may I also co-sponsor his measure, Mr. President?
Go ahead, Majority Leader.
Thank you. Mr. President, I join our colleagues today in honoring the extraordinary life of our dear friend and my former colleague in the 12th Congress. We were together, Mr. President, in the 12th Congress. As in the 11th Congress, it was his brother, Congressman Eddie Gullas, and he had taken over the district in the 12th Congress. He was the former representative representing the district of the Talisay City and the corresponding nearby towns. Dr. Jose Dodong Gullas, my friends, wore many hats, Mr. President. He was a journalist, educator, and public servant, among others. He somehow was able to give the same amount of complete commitment and hard work in all these roles. And he seemed so at ease juggling his many roles because he truly found joy in serving others, whether it be his constituents or the students of the University of Visayas or the loyal readers of Freeman Cebu, which is one of the most popular newspapers in Cebu. I would always remember him fondly as such a gentleman. We were just discussing it with Senator Joel and Senator Sherwin because they were their classmates in the 12th Congress. And he was such a gentleman and such an eloquent speaker, Mr. President, just like his brother, Congressman Eddie Gullas, former deputy speaker, at the time when the deputy speakers, Mr. President, only numbered 3, which is for Mindanao, Visayas, and Luzon. Yes. So, Mr. President, Dr. Dodong Gullas was a true mensch, and we would all do well to take inspiration from his life of service. So, Godspeed to the good doctor, and may he rest in peace. Thank you, Mr. President. May we also recognize our 2 other colleagues in the hall, Senator Joel Villanueva, Mr. President.
Senator Joel Villanueva, and then Senator Villar is raising her hand. Go ahead, Senator Villanueva.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Floor Leader. I would just like to confirm the statements made by our Majority Floor Leader that indeed Manong Dodo Gullas, Congressman Dodo Gullas, is a very fine gentleman, very amiable, soft-spoken, very humble member of Congress. I would just like to share one story in this August chamber, Mr. President. When I was proclaimed February 6 of 2002, that was 9 months after the 2001 elections, Mr. President. I remember first meeting Congressman Dodong Gullas, and he was the one who asked me to attend my very first committee hearing in the House of Representatives in the Committee of Basic Education, then chaired by then Congressman Edmund Reyes. But because Manong Dodong was the vice chair, he was presiding, Mr. President, and sinama niya po ako under his wings, and he became my mentor. And I remember distinctly that very first day of this representation, being a member of the House of Representatives, and I will never forget that. Indeed, he is a gentleman, educator, and a a role model. And he will be missed, Mr. President. And I just would like to profound my sincerest condolences to his family and loved ones, especially to our colleague also, Congressman Eddie Gullas. Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo. Thank you.
Yes, Senator Cynthia Villar is recognized.
Thank you, Senate President. Former Congressman Dodo Gullas was a family friend and the brother of Deputy Speaker Eddie Gould during the stint of Manny as Speaker of the House and a member of the Nacionalista Party. So I'm requesting Senator Gordon to make me a co-author of the resolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Senator Gordon's agreed. Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. With that, I move.
Senator Bong Revilla is raising his hand.
Yes, may we recognize Senator Bong Revilla.
Go ahead,
Thank you,
Senator.
Mr. President. I joined the good sponsor and our colleagues in condoling with the family of former Representative Dodong Gullas and in honoring his life. May you rest in peace, my good friend, and find solace in the loving embrace of our Creator. May I make co-sponsor with the permission of the author, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Gordon. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Majority Leader.
Thank you. With that, Mr. President, we move to adopt Senate Resolution number 666.
Any objection? Hearing none, Senate Resolution 6